put a link on David's thing?
Yeah, we could.
Live streaming isn't available right now.
All right, we're live. We're good.
Good afternoon, guys. March 27th, 2024. Doing my second or third live stream. Trying to get used to this stuff. It's quite the education for the old cat. We're at 68,632.33 on Bitcoin today. We've gone up to 71, I think. I mean, I did tell you guys that I was expecting more volatility, not less. We've probably seen today alone, let's see if I can pull this up correctly. Why is it doing this now? Let's get rid of that, and look at this, okay? This is so awesome. This is a 1 hour chart. We started the morning right here, about $70,000 through last night, and pops up all the way to 71.8 and then gets crushed. Right here is exactly when the news came out or was coming out that Coinbase had lost their dismissal with the SEC. So let's start there. It's not unusual that you would lose a dismissal case in such a large case. So I don't quite frankly understand all the panic here. This is the kind of stuff that you guys, I've been telling you guys could happen, that everyone's worried about what the top end price is. They're thinking, hey, I'm going to exit at 100 or I'm going to exit at 120. I think you're going to find that this market has moved from 69.4 to 71.8. That's $3 grand, $2.5 grand, down to 68. That's a $3,500 move. Back up to 70, 2,000. I mean, we're all over the place. Okay, you have at least $12,000 worth of swings in 5 hours of business. So if you're a little confused right now, if you're holding Bitcoin, or worse, if you were, hey guys, Hang Tamek, good to see you, buddy. Good to have you guys in the room. Retweet the space, tell people we're live. Love to get some questions and answers. But my point on the confusion, when these markets move around like this, and you're gonna have to get comfortable with this type of volatility, your conviction level, your understanding of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and for how long you're doing it really drives your emotional response, whether you have a high one or a low one. Like for me, it does not bother me in the least. In fact, I was setting up bids down here at 68 to buy this. So my last purchase, so you're all clear, my last purchase was quite a few Bitcoin at the 68 level, right in this range. I think it was 66,818, and then I also picked up some at 68. I am the proud holder of Bitcoin at 68,000, and I am literally the proud owner at 68,000. I love this level. Now look, I am not a chartist, okay? So, and I'm definitely not giving you financial advice, but the way I look at some of these things, I look at this 1 week chart here and I just see beautiful structure being set up over a fairly long period of time. This is back to June of 22. June of 2022. We have this huge base formed here. Couldn't get penetrated. We have moved from 16 grand. This was when all the FTX stuff was coming out. He gets thrown in jail roughly around this period. And see what happens? They cleaned up all the dirt, all the rats, all the roaches are getting wiped up out of the crypto Wall Street world. And what happens? The market moves from 16.5 to about 28 grand. Okay, I think this was all, the move from 16 to 28 was all cleaning up the rat cellar. Now that we've cleaned up the rat cellar and we've got, let's just do a little review over the last 4 or 5 months what's happened. We have massive transparency and insight, like a proctoscope up somebody's butt, right inside of Binance. You've removed the CEO of Binance. You have Insight and Intel per operating agreements with the U.S. government for Coinbase to be examined by the SEC. So we have authorities in the United States that have pretty much transparency in anything that's touching exchanges, that's touching the United States or U.S. citizens. We've gotten rid of the rats. They're in jail or getting ready to be put in jail. What else have we done? Oh, gosh. We had the Treasury Department release a 350-page document on how crypto would be taxed and, as importantly, how it would be tracked, traced, and accounted for, and what the expectations of the U.S. government are. And then, magically, within days, we had an ETF approved. And here we are today. We've learned a lot about the ETFs. We've learned a lot about what we don't know about the ETFs. But most certainly, this ETF, and I'm going to try to move us to a chart here, some information. This ETF has been the most successful ETF ever launched in the history of finance. Full stop. Okay, I'm going to say that once again. The Bitcoin ETFs that have been launched, the 11, 3 of them alone make up the most successful launch in ETF history ever across this planet. That should not be underestimated. And what do we have? We have a price that has moved pre-ETF from about 27,000 to right up to 42. Then it ripped into 50, right? This is all ETF news, in my opinion, from roughly 27 all the way to 50, just pure ETF news. We didn't even know the flows here. Okay, we did not know the flows in mid-February. We began learning about the flows, and what happens? We move through 50 grand. This is right here. We're at 51,000. That is February the 26th. We are March the 28th today, 27th today. 30 days later, this price has moved from 50 grand to about 69,000 in less than 30 days. And in fact, it cut through the entire bucket of $50,000 within 1 week. It had moved through 50. And that does not surprise me, since we didn't really spend much time in the 50s back here. We should just shut right through these. So I've never seen a chart that is this beautiful. Again, I'm not a chartist, but this is a beautiful, structurally built chart. I mean, if this was the Brooklyn Bridge yesterday, it wouldn't have fallen. Okay, this is a lot of structure, and we have had people hitting this market at this angle here. We've had so many shorts liquidated out of this market, those boats trying to hit that center spot of the bridge, and nothing has done anything to collapse this structure. So I remain more convinced and committed on what I'm seeing today than ever before, I must say. And by the way, this price has moved with Grayscale dumping about $200 million a day. Let's see if I can find where the Grayscale outflows from, here we go. Outflows from Grayscale Bitcoin ETF hit 1.9 billion in a single week. If I would have told you 4 months ago that Grayscale was going to dump $1.9 billion worth of Bitcoin into the market in a single week, okay? Would you have bet that the price did this? Would you have bet the price would have gone up? Because I see flows coming from GBTC that are putting a tremendous amount of sale pressure on Bitcoin, yet we have known about the Grayscale ETF outflows since about right here. In fact, since about $60,000, okay? This is not new. These outflows have been occurring. We also have, right here, you see a bunch of buying. Someone's buying this, someone's selling it. I suspect there are the whales that are dumping, but Grayscale, once that pipe of sales stops, and it will stop at some point. They're about, I think, 45% depleted from where they started. My question to you is, what happens when Grayscale stops liquidating? Do you think that the price is going to go down because Grayscale is no longer pumping 1.9 billion a week into this market, or is the price going to go up? I submit the price will go up, and that will be timed with the halving. I think Grayscale has about 30 days of flow left at the rate they're. I think they did 200 plus million yesterday. If I can find, let's go back to this. Let's see what they did. Let's see here. I think they did 238 million yesterday alone. There we are. Grayscale. Grayscale ETF is priced at 61. This went down all the way down to about $6 or $7 this summer. So imagine the returns that the people have made by holding this. A 10x return for sure. And we continue to have outflows. I think yesterday was 238. I said shares outstanding 381 million. And then we get IBIT, which is the Bitcoin Trust. You get the FBTC. These are all inflows, 152 million. Bitwise has been doing their, Bitwise did 90 million in one day the other day. I mean, it's no one that I know, including the Bloomberg guys, the Wall Street players, no one expected these type of flows. So there's good news and bad news in that. Kind of striking. We all didn't know. I just continue to beg to ask this one question: what would happen if Grayscale would never have sold one Bitcoin? What would the price be today? So we're seeing a lot of comments. We got people coming into the room. 21 likes, so that's awesome. Let's read some comments here. Let's see. Hollow Man says, I don't mind a dip. Want to fill back up my bags. Go get it, Hollow Man. That's the right way to look at this, dude. Like, we're going to get, you guys should be very, very comfortable now with 10 and 15% swings in this market. So a good strategy if you're holding on to a little cash is, put a bid in there at 68 or 67. Let it wick down on you. And let this volatility be your friend, okay? Instead of being scared of this volatility, it's not going away. At least for the next 2 years, it is not going away. So get comfortable with it, play it, use it as your strength. 15% turn downs on Bitcoin is not going to be abnormal, and 10-15% swings up and down, like that only has to do 7%. So what are we talking about? $70,000. A 77% move is $49,900. So you could easily see $70,000 Bitcoin go to 66,000 and then go back to 70, right? That's a 14% movement in hours. So let the volatility be your friend. The curve's constantly going up, okay? Remove yourself from the day-to-day. You're in this trade for 3 to 4, 5, 6 years. If you are, I think that's what I'm in this trade for, somewhere between 3 and 10 years. I don't have to get all excited about the daily price. What I have to do is understand that Bitcoin is full of data, full of narratives, full of information. We get information yesterday about the Hong Kong Chinese ETF, in-kind ETFs. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Why didn't that move the market up $4,000? Now, you may say that it did. But today we get this little silly report. Most likely the SEC was always going to win this dismissal request by Coinbase. So big deal. This is a long party with the SEC and Coinbase. Coinbase has done an excellent job. The SEC is on weak ground, and you just got to let this play out. Be very clear. Coinbase has not lost this case. Coinbase simply was told by the judge that he's not going to honor the dismissal of the entire case. Very, very logical. So my point is, rumor, gossip, news is going to move this market a lot because it can be moved. Don't get moved, okay? You're the one that's going to get moved if anyone gets moved. So just don't get moved. Think about what you're doing. This is for life value, increasing your family's ability to survive in the future as the dollar continues to collapse And this is a hard money asset. Do not be scared of the volatility. Let's see, Mike Mac TV, do you see a significant dip before the halving or just consolidation? Until then, Mike, dude, you are awesome. Love the work you're doing on both X and YouTube. And I really like your topic, your whole American gender, your American pitch. I really, really love that. Look, I think you're going to have more volatility in the next 18 to 24 months. We keep going through this halving thing. We have already had a retracement of 20% pre-halving. That is very normal. It's happened every time before. The only difference this time is that it happened very early. But could we have another 20 or 30% day? Would that be the end of the world? We had one the other day. We had a 11.6% down in about 8 minutes, and then the market moved all the way back up, and it ended up giving up about, it was a 20% move in literally hours, probably 4 hours. Can we have another 30% down wick, Mike, pre-halving? Sure, we could. And what does that mean? 70,000, 30%, $21,000 down moment. It's a down moment. If you don't sell, you haven't lost any money. It's a paper trade. It's like having a little scratch on a bingo card. It's not relevant until you liquidate or get liquidated. How do you get liquidated? Your position's too big. You're trading on leverage. You're trading on margin. That's how you get liquidated. Or you put too much of a position in Bitcoin, your wife tells you she's having a baby or somebody in the family gets sick and you don't have liquidity anywhere else, you have to go hammer on the Bitcoin. So I think you're going to see continued volatility, but I personally, Mike, cannot get my head wrapped around that you're putting this much new money into Bitcoin via Wall Street, some of the biggest money on planet Earth, and it's not going to alter this halving cycle in some form or fashion, or the 4-year cycle, as you guys call it. So I think it's going to be different. It may be the same in terms of volatility, but I think the volatility is going to look different. So hopefully that helps. Let's see, what else do we have? If you guys like me reading these comments, again, I'm new to this, so don't give me a A minus for effort. Stephen Diaz says they'll stop very soon. The ETF, I guess the grayscale, they'll stop very soon and begin buying again. Possibly the halving is just days away. I think we're thinking about around 2 p.m. April the 20th, I think is what we're thinking the halving's going to occur. That was the question by Hang Timek. What is the exact day of halving? I believe it's April 20, around 2 p.m. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another dump prior to that. That's Steven saying that.
It
Me,
actually looks like it might be April 20th at
420. So somewhere between 2 and 420, my man tells me. Hang Tamek, you're asking where Grant is. He doesn't live here. He lives somewhere else, and you'll have to ask him. He's probably on a plane somewhere trying to buy some real estate. Gabe Higgins, thanks, Gabe. Great to see you last week, buddy. You and your girl. Love the. Gabe was at my party, and will always be at my party because he's an awesome human being running block spaces down in St. Pete. He says regarding the halving is measured in block time. Block number 820, comma 000 820,000, currently estimated to happen April 19th or 20th. Gabe, me and my crew, we think it happens April 20th at 4:20. I was told just literally minutes ago.
Smoke a joint.
Uh-oh.
420.
Uh-oh, the 420 thing. Let's see. What else we have? Cody Chavez wants to know price prediction at halving, up or down from where we're at now. Ooh, good question. Well, let's think about that, guys. We have April 15th coming up in 1 month. April 15th is, you know that day, tax day. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't have people liquidating some Bitcoin to pay their taxes. Oh, yes, this is crypto? Yes, news alert. You live in America, okay? If you have a U.S. passport, you have to pay taxes on crypto. And by the way, you can't move from Uniswap to Bitcoin and call that a wash trade and you don't have a tax event, or from Ethereum to Bitcoin. Okay, that is a tax event, guys. They're coming after you now. There's 36,000 new IRS agents being hired under a 55 billion new expansion budget for the IRS that both Republicans and Democrats have agreed to. You're going to have to pay your taxes. I think, anyone that hasn't gotten an audit yet, I think you should be very, very grateful that the government hasn't been hounding you. January the 1st, 2025, the U.S. Treasury Department of the United States of America has already advised every advisor that you could possibly hire in the United States that they must report accurately with great granular finality every crypto transaction that traded under a U.S. tax citizen for 2023. That was last year. You guys need to get your shit together. If you don't have a really good solution and you have a $250,000 position in crypto, you need to call node40.com. It's a firm that I invested in 2.5 years ago because I knew that no one had dashboards, real accounting forensics that could stand up to audits, lawyers, forensic studies, reviews. This is to protect you and to help you understand what your positions are. If you do not know what your average cost is of the Bitcoin that you're holding on a wallet, an exchange, an ETF, shame on you. You should know every moment what your actual cost is. You should bifurcate pools in different periods of time so that you're managing your tax exposure, and you have to get the lawyers around you and the accountants around you up to speed on what this digital asset is, okay? If you do not have a digital asset expert, lawyer or accountant, contact us. We'll put you in touch with a good one, okay? People that specialize in this. But don't sit here and think that Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million one day, and you're treating it like it's a $15 popsicle that's going to melt. By the way, I had some $15 popsicles at my party, and they were awesome. However, all I'm asking you guys to do is, hey, if you really think this is the asset of all assets, the King Kong, the apex predator, treat it like it, okay? Like, treat it, take care of it. Hire a proper digital accountant so that the three-letter agencies aren't sending you so many letters that it just wipes out all the profits you're going to make. All right, what else we got? Somebody's talking about the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah, I'm not a buyer. What else we got? Anybody else got any questions here? 3% allocation. Here's simple charts. Joe, hey Joe, 3% allocation is the new 1%. I'm so glad you said that, Joe, because it's actually on my notes to read. I am getting reports from significant professionals. This is not gossip in a YouTube space or an X space. This is from guys that are on the ground talking to fund managers. You'll find that I seldom go, I told you so, but I have been hammering this, just beating my hand on the bloody table, saying that I believe that the allocation for Bitcoin will be between 3 and 15%. It's not going to be 1%. It makes no sense for a very wealthy family. Let's call a very wealthy family worth $50 million. First off, they don't have $50 million just sitting in cash on the sidelines, and they're going to deploy $500,000 of that 50, a 1% allocation. They don't, or a five. That'd be a $500,000 allocation. These people are going to deploy $1 million, $3 million, $5 million into these portfolios. They don't do $500,000 deals. They don't want a K1. They don't want the reports. They have to pay a lawyer to do all this stuff for them every year. So I think you're going to see people move in with $2 million, $5 million, $3 million, and they will not care about this price at 69. They are literally looking at $5 million saying, I am deploying $5 million into the digital asset industry. And right now, the easiest thing to put it into is the ETF. So I think we're grossly underestimating how much volume is going to flow into this new industry. This industry that's literally valued at $1.4 trillion, less than NVIDIA. I just don't see how this is going to not end up being a multi-six-digit play. Because again, I mean, just think about, look, I'm trying to buy a car right now. I can't believe the price of vehicles. 6,000 Rolls Royces a year, $500,000 car. 6,000 of those is sold to rich people every year. The point I'm trying to make is I'm not paying $500,000 for a Rolls Royce, okay? No chance. I don't see the value. But, you know, you're looking at me going, hey, what's the value of Bitcoin? What's the value of a freaking Rolls Royce? Like you wouldn't buy a Rolls Royce for $500,000, okay? The point I'm trying to make is these rich people, if they'll spend $500,000 on a Rolls, that they're probably gonna, you know, what are they gonna use it? 4% of the time. Then they're gonna sell it 2 years from now because they all need the new model, just like the guys that own the planes. Here's one. People buy $60 million planes. Don't even think about it. The point I'm trying to make is, like, don't confuse price with value, okay? People make this mistake all the time. Really rich people do not misconstrue or conflate a dollar value, a dollar figure, let's call it $10 to go to a movie, on value. They are different things. I'll pay $1,000 for an awesome movie. I mean, a movie that really shakes me, moves me. I'd prefer not to pay $1 for a really crappy movie. Okay, now I know a lot of people that would rather buy the dollar movie and watch a crappy one than spend $1,000 and have a great experience. I don't understand that, but that makes a market. Okay, so we have value hunters. We have people that are all about price. Those people start chasing the crypto market, the tokens, the little cheapies. And then what do the super rich people do? What do the really smart people do? Oh, by the way, are all these rich people just lazy, or are they actually successful and smart? I think most of these people have hustled most of their life, and they have become successful, and they understand time and risk and optionality better than most people do. So when I find people that look at the dollar price, the pennies, I've seen so many people walking in the middle of a street trying to collect a nickel, and they get run over by a dollar. I look for dollars, $10, $1,000 trades, and if you guys can make pennies around me, awesome. It's just not my focus. I'm looking for value, and I see Bitcoin as the cat daddy, King Kong of all asset opportunities that I've ever seen, and intellectually it really excites me. So anyway, that's my little rant on value, on value and how people look at pricing. So let's move. Let's see if I can get you some more information. Let's move to this topic. Hong Kong-based asset manager VSVFG and Value Partners apply for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, I thought China had banned all this stuff, right? I thought China was like, no Bitcoin. We're only doing stable coins and CBDCs. Well, it looks like they're figuring out in Hong Kong there's a lot of money to be made in a trading center in Asia. You're going to find the exact same thing's going to happen in London, Canary Wharf. They'll turn that into a trading hub of the likes you've never seen before. This is all just game playing. You'll see Dubai do it. I mean, I know American firms right now moving to Dubai because Dubai is actually setting up a digital exchange, right? They're setting up a digital hub as a geo to make it safe, easy, and effective for people to invest in crypto and build industries around it in a very tax efficient and probably regulatory efficient manner. So let's see, in December 2023, less than 2 weeks after nearly a dozen applicants won approval for spot ETFs in the US, Hong Kong regulators said they were ready to consider applications for spot ETFs. Not only that, but they are considering spot ETFs and receiving in kind. That is a massive difference than what the US did. The very 11th hour US government cut a deal with the funds, with the ETFs, to only allow in cash, okay, which we should probably talk about the in cash. I have a theory on this in cash issue, but you can only, if you're moving from Coinbase or you're moving from Binance and you want to go in the ETF, well, I'll just address this right now. You can only put cash into the new ETFs. You cannot move Bitcoin into the ETFs. So that means, in my thesis, a guy like me that already has Bitcoin sitting somewhere, made investments a long time ago, or maybe even 3 weeks ago, that's either sitting in a wallet or an exchange. Now, I can't just move that to the ETF. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up, if China allows, if Hong Kong allows in kind, that will make the US ETFs look inferior because it is an inferior product. I actually want to be able to move my coins to a wallet. I then want to be able to take those coins and move them into an ETF if I so choose, and then pull them out and then move them somewhere else. Someone's giving me a better deal. The way the in cash play is done, it's really done a couple of things in my mind. One, it's ensured the government that they're going to get their tax, because now you can't hide, right? In order for you to get into an ETF, one or two things have to happen. One, you must sell and take the tax hit for the coins sitting on a wallet or an exchange in order to get them into the ETF. Two, if you buy new, which is the point I'm getting ready to make, if you buy the ETF, I believe that is new capital. That tells me that, for instance, a guy like me, I have a large position, not large as I would like, but I have a large position of Bitcoin. I am not able to move any of those into the ETFs. I mean, I could move them if I wanted to pay a tax consequence of 50% margin. I've made 50% at least on my Bitcoin. I'm not going to pay it. Why would I pay a tax thing to get into an ETF, right? So that money is going to stay where it is, in my wallet and cold storage, or in an exchange. The reason I'm bringing this up, I think most of the flows that are coming into ETF is new money. This is new money. It's either people that are already in crypto and they wanted access to the ETF, or they hadn't deployed enough, so they plowed new cash into the ETF, or it's grayscale getting, that liquidation occurring through because of the bankruptcies that have occurred. I find the bankruptcy occurring and the liquidation of this particular asset very timely. It's made grayscale really puke out a lot of volume that otherwise it wouldn't have done. But I just think that with all the grayscale selling, we have missed the point that most of this money is new money coming into Bitcoin. I know a little bit about where this money's coming from. I think it's edge cases of investment advisors, not RIAs, not wirehouses, not the big firms, but the edge cases, that probably that 30% of the smaller players who tend to move faster, they're more nimble. These people are deploying $20 million a pop into their funds, and then they're taking the 20 million. They're going, look, we have 30% of our clients have said they want growth. 30% of our clients have said they want aggressive growth, and they are making an allocation into Bitcoin for between 4 and 20 million in a pop, and then allocating that $20 million over, say, 300 families. The really cool thing is, so if you don't get what I'm getting ready to say to you, really figure this out, okay? It's so important. Most of these families have no clue whatsoever that they have Bitcoin today. They were deployed Bitcoin a month ago. They do not know it. Furthermore, if you don't know how these advisors work, They don't have to call the investor up and go, do I have your permission to move part of your $20 million with me into Bitcoin? That does not happen. They already have the approval by the investor. Look, these are professional investors. That's what the investor gives, hands over the role, hands over the risk to the advisor to make those decisions, okay? So that's a big deal, okay? If families don't know that they're in Bitcoin and they're gonna open up a report on April the 15th, right before the halving, from their investment advisor, and they go, hey, you have 2 Bitcoin, and by the way, you bought them at 32 and now they're worth 68. Do you really think these smart, successful people are going to go, let's trim our investment in Bitcoin that we've had for a whole 2 months and we've made 100% on? Listen, rich and successful people, they're highly competitive people. And when I go to dinner or go to the country club and play some golf, and we start talking about Bitcoin, they start hearing the numbers that I am able to share with them. What, you think they're going to call their dentist for a dental appointment and just scrub it off? They're going to start looking at, hey, why does that guy have a Bentley, man? Why does that guy have an airplane? Why is that guy like rolling? Okay, these guys are very, very competitive. They're not going to just sit idle while their investment advisors. Shame on you guys. RIAs taking 90 days to approve this. Shame on you, man. You're losing so much value. This product's been around 15 years. If your advisors don't know about Bitcoin, I would ask a serious question as to why my advisor does not know about an asset class that's been validated by the SEC, by the Treasury Department. You got Hong Kong releasing an ETF. You got London doing stuff. You got Dubai doing stuff. We have a couple of corporates who completely changed the complexion of their business, like MicroStrategy. Something's happening out there in the world, and it's around digital assets. And I think, if you've got your, if you're leading with your 20th century, this is how we always did it strategy, I think you're going to have a lot of really disappointed investors. And these investors aren't going to be scared to move if you drop the ball on this opportunity. So I would encourage you guys to really dig deep on this one, because if we get to 80, 90,000, people are going to get a little irritated if they missed a move from 40 to 80 when we've been radaring, sending this out in mass messages, and you got a lot of Wall Street guys, including Larry Fink, who thinks this is the bee's knees, and it must be pretty good because you got people like Elizabeth Warren and Gensler trying to crush it at every attempt, every turn. Okay, so that's my Hong Kong thing. Look, this is a big deal, guys. This is setting up game theory now. If you don't know what game theory is, you should look into it, because game theory, in my opinion, is a very, very relevant topic related when we start talking about Bitcoin. It is a significant element to the Bitcoin story. It will only take a matter of time before a couple of states like Texas or Florida begin putting this on this balance sheet. What if another corporation like MicroStrategy, these mid-tier guys that can't compete against Google, they're getting crushed by these duopolies. If they start making this move to begin putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and balancing it with fiat, we're going to see other corporations say, hey, I have to do that to survive. That's exactly why Saylor did it. He was in a pinch point. He had to make a move. And he was smart enough to see that he didn't have many options, and very, very clear that Bitcoin would be the only thing that could bridge him out of that old world. And then we get to the game theory of, I know everybody wants to talk about El Salvador, but what if we had 4 more El Salvador say that this year and start boarding Bitcoin on their treasury? Or what if we had Turkey or Italy? I mean, they're all broke, so I'm not. Quite frankly, they're all broke, and they should be doing this. But if one medium-sized country, sovereign, or in fact even a couple of individuals inside of some super sovereigns in the Middle East begin deploying capital into Bitcoin, they will be buying thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. They will not be buying 1%, okay? They will be buying thousands of Bitcoin. They will not care what the price is. Okay, so where are we? We've got, let's just go check on the price here. Love feedback from you guys, what I can do better on this show, what you want to hear. Love to hear what you guys want to hear on topics in particular. Like what areas do you want more information on? What would be good for me is to be able to do an hour show for you guys on one subject, and we really drill deeply into that subject. I can probably get almost anybody on this show, and I'm really trying to bring you guys some very high quality education that you can't normally get. We will have, I'll tell you, Chris Inks and some other guys are going to work with us to do some charting, not to become a charting guru or to, show you how to trade via charts, but I think having some understanding of charting and then having a dumb guy like me really dumb it down for you guys might be really beneficial, because these guys are really wicked smart, and sometimes they talk over just really common sense viewpoints. So we're at 68.5. We're at probably near the low of the day. Looks like it wants to low was 68.379. We have some selling. I don't think it's a massive amount of selling, but somebody's buying and somebody's selling. At 68.379, this price has moved intraday. Intraday is within 71.8, 68.5. That is a $3,300 swing. It's about $6,000 really when you look at up and down and back up again, or up, and back down. It's about $5,000 or $6,000, man. This is a whippy product, and it gets swung around because there's not a lot of liquidity in this market. There's not a lot of spot Bitcoin that really trades. What else were we going to talk about today? We talked about in Cardone Corner, BTC volatility. We can talk more about, we're going to be talking about volatility for a long time. Asian ETF in kind, that's a big deal. Make sure you're following the Bloomberg guys. They will be following that news very closely. I personally don't think the inflows and outflows on Bitcoin are that relevant right now. I mean, I know that it's relevant news and everyone wants to understand it, but GBTC will stop selling at some point. It's probably 30 days left. Two, if you can swing this market $3,000 or $4,000 on the way down, what happens when you have, say, 10 RIAs, which registered investment advisors? What if all these firms kind of work in the same time period and they all get their shit together and say July the 31st, July the 31st, August, and they go, hey, we're going to deploy for Q4. We want our investors to see that we got into Bitcoin in 2024. Last time for that is Q4, October, November, December. I'm going to predict that somewhere between August and September, we're going to see volumes into Bitcoin we've never seen before. Buying that will be insane, okay? This thing is setting up so beautifully for us. We have the April the 15th, tax day, okay? There could be some dipping here. I actually am going to predict there's not going to be a dip because everything's just kind of inverting right now, but I don't think there's going to be a big sell-off dip for the taxes. You then have post-halving event, April 20th. You're probably going to get news before April the 20th that could be a news seller, that the Ethereum ETF is not approved. It'll get delayed. I do not see any way it gets approved by May, as they were suggesting. You then have the IRAs. If I'm right and other people that follow this are right, you're having the IRAs. All then will be able to be ready to make a decision around June, July, August, and all that buying, all that organic buying, real money buying. I mean, this is deep, deep money, right? It's not Gary Cardone money. I mean, I have a lot of money, but first off, guys like me typically don't use the top 10 players. We use different players that, problem with doing business with the top 10 guys, they're always sending a different guy to you. So I can go to a mid-tier professional and get a more bespoke service, more customized to me and my family. I just, I think you're going to see, look, 10 RIAs, 10 registered investment advisors control $45 trillion. 45 trillion. Write the number out, 45 trillion. Okay, it's a massive number. That's 10 companies. There's another 13,000 firms that control or manage another 40-ish trillion. They will all be making the same decision. Like, these firms are not going to sell Bitcoin. You understand that, right? They're not sellers. They're investors. They buy assets. This is a new asset class. It's literally being given the title asset class by the strongest players in the world, from banking to regulation. Remember, they're not sellers. They are long-term buyers and holders of assets. And these families far wealthier than my family, please appreciate, they already have a monster allocation to bonds, equities, private equity, hedge funds, commodities. They're maxed out on all these investments. They now have this new toy, this new tool, this thing that makes 45% a year IRR. They can invest in this. What are they going to do? Do more crude oil? Do more bonds? Do more equities? Do more NVIDIA? Or, hey, let me go do this thing I've never done before and I keep hearing about. And by the way, some unbelievable charts to look at. In fact, let's just go look at this one chart. Imagine if this is the first time you're ever seeing this, and your family is worth $300 million, okay? Now, you've never seen this chart before, but all of a sudden a guy shows you this, never mentions the word Bitcoin, but he says, hey, check this chart out. This is 15,000, and now it's at 68. This is 6 months ago, okay? Let's try this one, okay? An infinite return on your money, okay? This started out at, what were we at here? This is about $4,000. $4,000, now it's worth $68,000. Okay, there's only about 4 people in the world that are not already in profit in Bitcoin. Okay, you had to buy 73.5 to be underwater right now. And what you should be doing is buying some more and buying some more and buying some more and lowering your average cost. So I don't think anyone's going to look at this if they're communicated with properly, which means, by the way, hey, I'd like you to invest $50 million into Bitcoin, and you need to carry seed phrases in your brain. Like, these guys aren't doing that, guys, okay? They're going to buy the ETF. And they've never been able to do this before or have it explained to them in a way that was really, really understandable and didn't require them to recreate their entire accounting process, get approvals from lawyers and accountants to do any of this. This is an ETF. It'll be very, very simple for them to do. And many of them will probably get Bitcoin allocated to them before they actually make the decision. So again, it's a very, very different deal when an IRA is making the decision to invest your money into Bitcoin. But what happens when these families start picking the phone up and go, I want you to deploy more, son. Okay, we need more exposure to Bitcoin. What else can we do here today? As you can see, I'm extremely bearish. You know, people laugh at me. Dude, why? How can you be so convicted, so convinced of your thesis here? And I'll do it again. I will offer to anyone, any academic, economic or otherwise, any regulator, any politician, any mathematician, any business person in the world, please come debate me, like a really healthy, proper debate. I'm not trying to be argumentative. Please explain to me why I am wrong in my thesis. This may be the greatest opportunity, the greatest investment opportunity of my lifetime, and probably the greatest private equity opportunity I've ever had in my lifetime. And I've had some really cool private equity opportunities. I think there's value in investing in Bitcoin. Will be one of the greatest returns ever, risk adjusted and energy adjusted, my energy. And two, I think there's going to be some of the most spectacular opportunities to invest in companies and build companies in the Bitcoin industry, what I call the digital asset industry. So I can't not be excited, I must say. Furthermore, the third piece why I'm so excited, the money that's getting ready to move in here, with all due respect to everyone that's ever been in Bitcoin, it's more mature money than we've ever had. Okay, it's more mature. It's not emotional. It's analytical, and it's making long-term decisions. It's not going to worry about a 1 hour chart. By the way, notice I don't have any 1 hour charts up. I have 1 week charts up. Okay. See, this is what I like to see. Okay. Oh wow, 1 week. Let's just talk about this. If I've got time. You guys are looking at this 1 hour chart, okay? But let's look at this 1 week chart. This is $42,000 in February. It's March, guys. This was February the 5th, okay? In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, your investment went from 42,000 to 68. Like, what part of this are you not getting? In fact, let's go back another to October. This is now going on 6 months. You went from 26.9 to 68. Are you getting what I'm seeing here? Okay. I mean, I think what I'm trying to say is I think we're getting ready to blast off. Remember this one? Remember this over here and this little rocket ride everybody took? Okay, this was at $10,000. Okay, sat there for a long time. I bought at $8,000 back here. Okay, around when Saylor was doing his deal. Didn't even know it. And then I heard Saylor. I'm like, oh shit, he gets it. $8,000, man. $8,000 right here. Ran up to 69. Okay, like that's just a horrible return, right? Look, September 20. Okay, we are now at April. I mean, it's another 6 months. Why would you want to miss this ride? Now, you're going to say, well, a lot of people got trapped up here. Nobody's trapped up here. People are in the money right now, okay? Now, we're testing this. We're either going to go higher or we're going to go a lot lower, okay? Now, if this scares you, this should scare you, okay? Because guess what? You missed all of this, okay? Not my fault that you missed it. But one day, this, just remember how that person was feeling right here, okay? This person right here at $40,000, he's like, man, I'm never going to get my money. Then it ripped right past him. He did not buy. I know a guy that sold at 7,000, picked this stuff up at 300, sold down here, has never gotten back in the market. Every day, every minute of his life, he's like, oh my God, I own Bitcoin at $300. I sold it at 7,000, and my ego won't let me get back in. My ego won't let me get back in. This is money, okay? Your ego, my ego is really fine with being wrong, okay? Like, I have gotten to a point in my life where the less ego I have, the better. Your ego cannot understand this. This is a very different product that no one on this planet, in fact, I'm going to end this way. I wish I had a better way to close my... Ryan, how do I close the, just go straight to the, just get it on camera instead of this. I haven't, oh, I can't? Oh, well, that explains it. Maybe we'll get some kind of other thing. where was I headed with this? I was saying that look when I look at this risk here, okay, I am buying here, okay. This price for me is, I'm more comfortable here than I was at $8,000. To me, when I bought this back here, it was a total punt, okay. It was not nearly as well defined, regulatory, legal, accounting, tax. There was no real clarity on this. A bunch of animals running around, a bunch of tribes that's calming down. The tribal thing I already sense calming down. Please, anyone that wants to have a debate on why Bitcoin is not a better investment than a home, most certainly, where this could go wrong, please contact me, okay? I will give $10,000 to $100,000 to any charity if you can, in a proper, constructive debate, walk me off this cliff I'm on. Economic, MBAs, go to Cambridge, go to Harvard, go to Duke, go to Stanford. Bring it, dude. Bring it. $100,000. I'm making the offer right now. $100,000 or 1.5 Bitcoin. If you can, in fact, you don't even have to talk me off the ledge, okay? We're going to have a moderator. In fact, we'll have two moderators, one from the legacy world and one from the crypto world, and we'll have a lawyer for $100,000, and we'll do a survey on X or YouTube. In fact, we'll do this on YouTube if Google doesn't keep messing with us. And we'll do a video debate. Anybody in the world, bring it. I'm not a smart guy, so you guys ought to be able to throw a lot of geniuses at me. I'll give $100,000, 1.5 Bitcoin to the charity of your choice if the audience that we do the debate on agrees with you. If the audience, we do a survey and take a vote, and the audience agrees with the counter against why Bitcoin may be the greatest investment of all time, happy to do it, okay? We got to do that before the halving. So we got May 20th. So anybody that's got the balls to come up here and make me look like an idiot, $100,000 for anything, any charity, including sending your kid to college. I'll consider that, or not sending your kid to college. That's a better use of the 100 grand. So if anybody, no one else has any one Q&A, where will my Bitcoin, yeah. So where will my Bitcoin thesis go wrong? Love to hear your comments. If you guys could subscribe to the channel, YouTube it, do whatever you need to do, get me some viewers, get our community bigger. Let's build a bigger community, stronger, start communicating a single message, guys, okay? So we can be bigger and better, and do not allow anyone to censor you no matter what. You have to be willing not to be censored and fight for that, okay? It's the only thing that really matters to me is our right to express ourselves and to do whatever the fuck we want to do with our lives as long as it doesn't harm anyone else. And we're agreeing and abiding by the rules and order of our lives. So really appreciate you guys. You can see this is not natural for me. I'm going to push through it and get really great at this. Tell me what I need to get better at. In the meantime, sell fiat, buy Bitcoin, rent when you can. When your wife tells you you shouldn't rent some more. Keep talking to her. Send her over to me. We'll debate that too, okay? Renting is smart. Don't be ashamed of renting. Love you guys. Have a great day. Not terrible.